everybody. It's me, Kirsten, and this is the It's Giving Mystical podcast, and this is your weekly card pull for the week of April 26th. Hey, April. Welcoming May this week. That's going to come in. That's going to be the energy of Hierophant and death. So we might have some transition, some rebirth happening around the things that are sacred to us, around our beliefs, around our sense of how we connect to the divine, maybe around our habits or practices regarding our spirituality. Yeah, the ways that we show our devotion might be shifting. Hi. It's, oh goodness, we had a beautiful full moon circle last night, and there is a lot of this energy right now around deathing and rebirth, around challenge, around struggle. And I will bring our attention back to the 8 year that we're in. I know I keep doing that, but it's important. It feels like we're having a hard time grounding into this energy because the 8 is, again, it's the power number. It's meant to integrate our physical, material power and sense of what is sacred in the world with our spiritual, ethereal, energetic bodies. And the power number, it said it's the power number because it wants us to be more fully integrated so we can move from a more impactful place. And the idea of an 8 being a number associated with abundance and success and manifestation is because the integration of these two things is the nucleus of all. It's like the little nuclear reactor. Your solar plexus becomes like this nuclear reactor that generates the energy you need. And the invitation in the power year is to really think about that word. There's a beautiful exercise that a woman, Milagros Phillips, I hope I'm saying that right. If not, I'll correct myself in the notes. But she speaks a lot about race. And when I heard her speak a couple of years ago, she had us close our eyes and just ask ourselves where racism, how that word, that energetic, what that does to our body, what it brings to our body. Her point was, she said a lot of beautiful, brilliant things, but her point in that exercise was racism is something that lives with all of us. The dynamics of that is something that impacts all of us. It's an energy bind for all of us. I would argue that the conversation around power can be similar. Power, how neutral a concept is that for you? When I say the word power, what comes to mind? What do you think of? And invitation, the curiosity is, what do we really mean by power? What is true power? And I would say it's not an individualistic exercise. It's not, I'm going to have the power and I'm going to keep the power and I'm going to generate the power. It's an integration or a sinking into the field, into source energy, into the collective as a way to animate my individual experience, which is just a very different feeling of power. So maybe you take a second right now, you just close your eyes and just feel where this word power lives in your body. What part of your body lights up? What is the texture, the quality of that sensation? What is that energetic trying to communicate to you about the ways that power is something neutral or something quite loaded? And how do you feel in that energy? How empowered do you feel with the idea of the word power? I hope that makes sense. This Scorpio full moon, it really was kind of highlighting some of the things that have bound our power and an invitation for us to up level and to shed a skin around our persona, our stories, our narrative, the mask we wear, and not because we've been doing it wrong or not because we've been pretending or not because there's anything weird or off or fake about us, but because we are learning, evolving, fluid creatures and we get stuck in these loops, right? So the narrative, cognitive loops into the story, into the behavior, the habits, and this invitation, the energy of death, when it shows up anywhere as Pluto, as Scorpio, as the death card in tarot, is saying you are more than the skin you wear. You are more than the range of expression you've allowed yourself. And this Scorpio full moon is asking us to expand and stretch that range of expression. Who else are you? What else are you? How else can you show up to this relationship, this event, this place, this belief, and what else is alive and true here? It's an expansion of our awareness. Very powerful invitation. Definitely feels like that up leveling in a video game, like you're on the next level. We were kind of joking about this at Circle, but you kind of get some new coins to play with, you get some new skins to wear, you get some new tools in your arsenal, and it's a beautiful invitation to say, what other ways can I show up in the world? What other ways am I able to be me in the world? And how have I held myself back from that? How am I expanding beyond that? This is a lot, right? It's a lot. It's exciting though. It feels, I don't know, I have this sensation of us turning a corner or turning a page. Something feels like it's resettling and yeah, like a new level, like we're entering the next level in the video game, in the simulation. This is a new floor, a new plane, a new adventure. I don't know, something about it feels definitive like that. Hope that makes sense. Hope that helps a little bit. This question of power is going to be with us all year, and I will redirect you again to my teacher Cass Phelps, who I've mentioned before. He talks about power very beautifully and in a very unique way, and he's really talking about it as allowing ourselves to be sourced in something greater than our individuality, greater than our bodies. I would offer that as you source into something greater, your experience of your body becomes more fine, more refined, more integrated. I guess that's the word. So we just are coming out of that 8 of Wands week, that 8 of Wands reversed. I'm curious for you what that was like, what energy was moving through, how quick that felt, how good that might have felt, how overwhelming that might have felt, where you might have seen more clearly, where you might have taken a pause to watch the miracle unfold, how that might have showed up for you, how you might have had interactions or conversations or expressions that surprised you and maybe even amazed you or awed you. The energy coming up for us this week is the 5 of Pentacles. It's very, very different, but it's also a jostling energy. So the 8 of Wands is the movement of energy. The 5 of Pentacles is the shake up of the material world. It is indicative of what's happening on college campuses right now, what's happening in the world. There is a tension that needs to be worked out in the real world, and that can be very frightening, can also be overwhelming. I would say that it's part of the human journey, part of our collective and individual experience, is there are moments where the world, the material world, needs to shift. It has a little bit of an earthquake energy. 5 of Pentacles, so 5, change, challenge, freedom, conflict, creativity around the material world. We get really basic. We talk about our bodies again. In a 5 of Pentacles week, you might have challenges around your body. You might have sensitivity around your body. You might have the feeling of like, oh my God, I'm getting older, or oh my God, I'm not taking very good care of myself, or oh my goodness, this thing that I've been ignoring for too long is now rising up and I need to deal with it. There's a shuffling and a tug of war happening in the material plane. Things break apart and they come back together. It is the energy of freedom as well, though. So 5s can make us feel like, oh no, conflict, change, challenge. Eek, I don't want that. Or maybe you do. Maybe you're like, yes, conflict, change, challenge. But no matter how you feel about those words, if I say to you freedom, that's something that it's like we do that same exercise. Where does freedom live in your body? What's your body's response to freedom? How does that feel? What does that like? What are the other sensations that come along with that word? The 5s are about liberating us on the material level when we're talking about pentacles. So we're talking about earth energy. We're talking about our bodies, our money, our environment, our situations. In this 8 year, it's important to recognize, again, the power, but also the vulnerability of our little human bodies. You are an infinite being, and you've come here to try this expression, to be here like this, to taste the world this way, to view the world this way, to feel the world this way. And it's a beautiful, unique experience. And it is not the totality of who you are. All that's happening. The 5 of Pentacles, just be aware that the 5 of Pentacles can feel, the energy of this card in particular you can feel lonely. You can feel abandoned. You can feel cast out. When we're talking about that Pluto and Aquarius energy, Pluto is going to be activating that sense of community, that sense of safe space. If you find yourself cast out, it's something to sit with in terms of, was I safe in that place? What would cause me to want to consciously or unconsciously move away from a space? What power do I have? Again, power. What power do I have when I enter a space to ensure my safety? I have so many friends who are, deeply worried or anxious about some of the situations happening in the world right now. I don't want you to dismiss the energy of epigenetics. Epigenetics is real. Our genetics are impacted by our environment. So if you have ancestors that dealt with starvation, any biologist in the world will tell you that will change your DNA. I would argue same with all survival. If you had ancestors, and we probably all do in some dimension, ancestors that struggled for their survival, and they all survived it because you're here, right? You made it. They are survivors because you're here. It's like kind of Has to be, right? But whatever they endured, whatever fight or flight or trauma or environmental chaos they endured, it echoes in your genetics, it echoes in your genes. So you might find yourself looking at the world right now and feeling deeply shaken. And it might not make sense to you. Your mind might be like, I don't know why this is impacting me so much. Don't underestimate the impact it can have, the world can have on you when your body is remembering your history, remembering the experience of your ancestors, singing the song of be careful, be careful. This was or could be a dangerous place, be careful. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a very real experience, and it might not make sense to you, and that doesn't mean it's any less true. Five of Pentacles brings up that energy. The Five of Pentacles also is a recognition of where you cast yourself out. So where do you assume you are not invited? Where do you assume that you won't be wanted? Where do you cast yourself out before anyone else has the chance to do that? The Five of Pentacles is not easy energy, and it is like an earthquake, like a hurricane, like a tide that washes away, necessary. It's a breaking apart, a crumbling of something, a shifting of something in the material plane that needs to get broken apart. So if you find yourself feeling in a material way a sense of lack, a sense of abandonment, a sense of lostness, stay with it. This Carlos Castaneda quote is really staying with me. The only sin is to turn away from life. The only sin is to pretend that things are other than they are. There's something very brave about saying, I understand that life is both creation and erosion, and I can be with the erosion moments as well as I can be with the creative moments, knowing that that's a fluid relationship. And our ability to be with the creativity allows us to have more safety and security during the erosion, and our ability to stay with the erosion allows us to rise up into more creation and more creativity. I hope that makes sense. Five of Pentacles, again, not the easiest energy. You want to be really careful around your material world. You want to kind of take stock around what's happening materially for you. And you want to honor the emotions that come up. It's not easy to be human. It's not easy to live in community. It's not easy to be in relationship. It's not easy to be in a body. It's not easy to manage all the things that life asks us to manage. And yet when we slow it down and break it down and stay in the moment, we realize that life is really just bringing us one thing at a time. I laid down for a little while before, and I was like, my mind was kind of popping through all the things I have to do. And literally in my brain, I was like, like I had to quiet down all the voices that were telling me all the things I had to do. And that's normal, right? But I literally had to yell for everyone to be quiet in my brain to say, I'm going to stay here now. And then I felt into my body, I felt into gravity, I felt into my breath. And I realized I'm okay right now. And as I rest here, when I stand up, I will be ready to do the other things that have to get done. Five of Pentacles, take it easy. Just know that if things are breaking down, breaking apart, it's happening for a reason. And there's a stagnation that wants to be attended to, and the fives are here to make that happen. On the heels of the Scorpio full moon, that's intense, and that's why we said during the Scorpio full moon there's not much to do with this energy. It's an energy to experience. There's a molting happening probably in your own life, in your own expression, and there's a molting happening for us collectively and for us globally, and that just takes time, and we can do hard things, as they say. Five of Pentacles, go easy on yourself. Be gentle with others if you have the capacity to do that. If there's anything that we really all understand, it's that we all want to be loved, and we all want to be included, and we all want to be safe. That we can agree on. How we get there, funny, people are funny, but the recognition that everyone really in their own way is trying to find their way home is an important one during a Five of Pentacles week. Okay, I hope that helps. I hope that serves you, and we will be here with May before you know it, and I will see you next week. And I have some other kind of ideas percolating in terms of how to offer that monthly energy, so I'll keep you posted on that. And as you've heard me say, if you would like to hear more about some of the programs and work I'm developing in this larger area of giving mystical, please go to that website and sign up for the email list. And I will be in touch very shortly with some cool things, fun things, ways for us to connect and be together in our walk of life, in our walk on this path to be more here, to be more free, to be more love. Yes, yes, yes. All right, check you later. It's giving everything is sacred. It's giving art. It's giving light you up and turn you on and set you free. It's giving curiosity. It's giving freedom. It's giving love. It's giving you are more magical and powerful than you can comprehend. It's giving, I don't know what's happening, but I am so here for it. It's giving you are pure potential. It's giving mystical.